Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and I'm here with a new era, new format for the channel, face-to-face video once again, and I'm here to do my comparison between the Oppo Reno 3 Pro and the Mi Note 10 Pro. Now I'll be including some B-roll in this as well, so stay tuned for that. But just want to go down here and share my thoughts between these two phones. We're going to kind of break with tradition here. We'll go down the list, but kind of go in a rapid format and just want to talk about each of these phones. I think there are pros and cons to each side of these phones, but which one is best for you? In terms of pricing, obviously I paid around 3,800 Hong Kong dollars for this Oppo Reno 3 Pro, and I paid around the similar price, closer to 4,000 Hong Kong dollars though, for this Mi Note 10 Pro. Top of the line, 8GB, 256 gigs of storage, whereas this is the 8GB 128. Talking about design, this is the first area where we really notice a difference. As you can see, there's quite a difference between these two phones. 7.7 millimeters and 171 grams for the Oppo Reno 3 Pro versus 9.7 millimeters and 208 grams for the Mi Note 10 Pro. This phone is significantly heavier in the hand, and that's the one thing I've noticed while I've been out shooting with these two phones, is how much more svelte and just kind of sleek this design is. And let's face it, it's a much smaller and a much more comfortable feeling in the hand, and yet you have a larger display size as well. We're talking a 6.5 inch display versus a slightly smaller 6.47, but that's not including the fact that we do have a notch on this phone. So punch hole or notch, that's really, which camp are you in? That's really the question. And I do feel that this is the best implementation of a punch hole that you could have in 2020. A tiny punch hole over this kind of larger notch on the Mi Note 10 Pro. The other advantage this has in terms of display is a 90 hertz refresh rate display. It is so smooth to use, and as you can see in this B-roll, it just flies. Everything about this phone just screams fluidity, and you can just definitely tell the difference when you're using it day-to-day over something like the Mi Note 10 Pro. And looking at the backs of these phones, it really will come down to personal preference, but I will say I'm becoming much more of a fan of the Oppo Reno 3 Pro, and it's kind of the BBK family of phones, that OnePlus kind of look. This matte, very satin back is just something that I feel every phone should have in 2020. This is not to say that the Mi Note 10 Pro's back is ugly or something. It's a gorgeous back, and look how it shimmers in this light. But for me, I just feel I'm kind of done with the glossy back phones in 2020. I want to see more OEMs do matte backs in this case. And now we get to the big one, performance. This is where you're going to see this separation between the Oppo Reno 3 Pro and the Mi Note 10 Pro. We're rocking that new Snapdragon 765G on this phone versus the 730G on the Mi Note 10 Pro. Now, I have said that 730 series is one of the best chipsets that you can have in a smartphone, and I am still sticking to that. Battery life is tremendous also on this phone with a 5,260 milliampere capacity versus 4,025 on this phone. This will last quite a significantly longer amount of time and was my battery champ of 2019 right here, the Mi Note 10 Pro. But that's not to say that you can still have decent battery life, and I'm averaging a screen on time of around 11 hours and 25 minutes, just about predicted for this Oppo Reno 3 Pro. But the real difference is going to come down to either GPU or the clock speed, and also future-proofing. So we're looking at an Adreno 620 over a 618 on this phone. We're also looking, obviously, at 5G capability on this Oppo Reno 3 Pro. And you're looking at 5G bands 41 and 58 included. So once that rolls out to your country, this phone will be able to take advantage of those sub-6 speeds in 5G. Probably not millimeter wave at this point, but the Mi Note 10 Pro will be left in the dust in this case and will always remain just an LTE phone. So I think, yes, the Oppo Reno 3 Pro will give you that future-proofing, but you're going to have so many phones come out this year which are going to have 5G later on. It's really not worth investing in it now if you think that there are other factors of the Mi Note 10 Pro that you do value more, like battery life or camera. And speaking of one other area where the Mi Note 10 Pro shines is audio. Now, the Oppo Reno 3 Pro tested really well in my dual speaker test yesterday, and with Dolby Atmos included, that's a welcome sight. But this phone has something that this one does not, and that is a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. That's a big win here for the Mi Note 10 Pro. Now, me personally, I've been using Bluetooth solutions for 3 years. Not as big a deal for me, but I know for a lot of you it is important, so that's a win here for this phone. And the other major win for the Mi Note 10 Pro is in camera. We have the 108 megapixel new Samsung sensor, and it is a beast. And if you've seen from any of my previous camera tests, even in these camera samples that I'll share shortly, this phone just has better quality pictures overall. That 108 megapixel sensor and the included penta cameras here, it's ridiculous how many more cameras are we going to see in phones in 2020. You can just tell that Xiaomi made it a major factor in designing and the building of this Mi Note 10 Pro, and it is still, as per DxOMark, the top camera next to the Mate 30 Pro in the world. Now, not to say that the Oppo Reno 3 Pro has a potato camera. It does very well with the Sony IMX586 and 48 megapixels, but I would have liked to see a 686 here in tow, and unfortunately that's not the case. So let's kind of do overview here. Which phone is right for you? I think it's going to come down to a number of these factors that I mentioned. So when you're looking at design, looking at display, the ideal 90 Hertz AMOLED type of look that this phone brings, I think the Oppo Reno 3 Pro feels more modern, feels like the more futuristic phone. And a lot of you had mentioned this is going to be the blueprint also for that OnePlus Lite. Maybe it's the OnePlus 8 Lite or the OnePlus 8 regular that will come out in a couple of months. So this phone is bringing a lot to the table, but there are a few key areas here where I think the Mi Note 10 Pro still has it. And that is in battery life with that tremendous 5,260 milliampere capacity, and also in cameras. And I can't be a hypocrite here, and I will say the two major factors, reason why phones like the iPhone 11 Pro Max, phones like this phone are still in my possession, and why I love them is because of battery life and camera. For those two reasons alone, and considering the price points and the extra storage, I do think the Mi Note 10 Pro is still the better option overall for most users, but at the same time, I can't deny the gorgeous fluidity and 90 Hertz AMOLED display on this Oppo Reno 3 Pro. In terms of that, I still think this offers more to the table here, but for most of you guys, you'll probably still be happier with the Mi Note 10 Pro. But hit me up in the comments and let me know, what do you think of this new format? I'm trying out something new here in 2020, and if you do like this more front-facing type of style, I will be happy to do more videos of this style, so hit me up in the comments. But that's it for this. Thanks for watching it, guys, and if you like this video, give me that thumbs up, and if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for future updates. So that's it. I do appreciate the support, and this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Have a good one. Whew, man. So this is what it's like to film in front of a camera. Do you like the purple light? Nice touch, huh? Whew, I'm hot. Let's turn on the air, dude.